boys, we made it through summer. Man, it seems like every one just gets worse and worse. I don't know if it's the older I'm getting, it just affects me different, but man, it's nice. Look, I got a jacket on and everything. It's like 60 degrees right now. Feels really good, man. So we made it through another brutal summer. Today I want to talk about, is Harley-Davidson a good beginner motorcycle? And this is not an original idea. A lot of people have made videos like this, but I just want to give you my take on this because I ride Harleys. I love Harleys, you know, and it's one of my favorite brand, or my favorite brand. Oh, I really like what they've done there. I'm a big Halloween person too, by the way. I love Christmas too, but Halloween is probably my favorite holiday. So, you know, beginner motorcycles. What is a good beginner motorcycle? I guess let's start with that. Typically what you see is something that is lightweight, inexpensive, and, you know, something you can learn the basics on and not break the bank if you, or when you inevitably drop the bike or make a mistake. Now you may be thinking, well, okay, that instantly answers the question. Harleys are expensive, they're heavy, and so yeah, they're not good motorcycles. End of video. Well, not so fast. If we're talking brand new Harleys, brand new, then I would say probably not. You know, the lineup has changed. We used to have, you know, the Roadster, the Iron 883, even the Iron 1200, and bikes like that, the Street Series, right, that were economical, even brand new, straight from the factory. But now that's no longer the case. Now we have the Nightster, the Nightster S, the Sportster S, right? And these bikes are not only more expensive than what the old Sportster series used to be, but they have more power, right? The Revolution Max motor, even in the 975, is like 90 horsepower, but that bike is, just speaking of the Nightster, is, you know, less than 500 pounds. 500 pounds roughly with the fluids. So it's got some pep. And then when you're talking about Revolution 1250, that one's 120 horsepower with a 500 pound bike. I mean, it is it's a ripper. Now, it's not my style, but they got a ton of power and they're more expensive. I think the Sportster S is 16, starting at 16. Well, no, it's 16. And then the Nightster, I want to say, goes down to 13. I would agree that the new Harleys today are not a good motorcycle for beginners. Now, assuming you have the money, right? Because we always talk about new bikes. You want something economical. You want something you're not afraid to drop. Well, the whole drop thing can be resolved fairly quickly. You know, even my bike, look, I got crash guards up front, engine guards. I got the saddlebag protectors. I'm fairly well protected. If I drop this bike, it's going to take one heck of a tip over for me to be able to damage the fairing. It could happen, but there's ways to prevent that stuff. So I wouldn't totally discount brand new Harleys, but I would definitely say it's not a good idea. Now, if we get to the used market, that's where things change. If you're willing to go slightly used, think about motorcycles. I'm not going to say that most people don't ride them a lot, but there's a lot of used motorcycles out there with 1, 2, 3,000 miles. Definitely a lot of them out there with less than 5,000 miles. That is nothing for essentially a brand new Harley-Davidson. You know, and you can save yourself a lot of money doing that. And I think for beginners, that's the way to go. You know, I bought this bike used. Now, I bought it at the height of everything going on, like an idiot, so don't do what I did. But I still bought it used, and you can save yourself some money, like I said, doing those things. So let's talk about, you know, power, because you're gonna hear a lot, you know, when it comes to people that hate Harleys. Oh, no Harleys are fast, blah blah blah. Well, you're not gonna be, you know, gapping a leader bike in a straight line, but what they do have is a ton of torque, and so they can get up to speed fairly quickly, and they could probably pull I thought there was a brick sign around here, but if there was, yeah, there's a brick sign right there. They could probably pull that brick sign out of the ground. They have so much torque, and so they can be slightly unforgiving, but again, that's not all Harley-Davidsons. What are you doing right here? Are you getting over? Are you not? Okay. So power is one thing, but you have bikes like the Iron 883. It's got like 50 horsepower, you know, and it's a Harley, and it looks like a Harley too. You know, a lot of the Harleys are becoming, when I say Harley, it looks like a traditional Harley, because Harley has started to change up, you know, their designs. They have to keep up with demand and be able to get in younger riders. It's just something they have to do. But you know, the Iron 883 looks like a solid traditional Harley. That bike's been out for a long time. The Evo motor, it's very classic Harley, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But if 50 horsepower isn't enough and you like to tinker around and you want to learn your bike, and you know, you just want to get in there, you can make an Iron 883 really solid. You can make them really powerful too. So there's all kinds of things. If you want a blank canvas, a bike that is fairly light and forgiving straight from the factory, but something that you can absolutely do a lot with, the Iron 883 is a fantastic starting motorcycle. That's what my first Harley actually was an Iron 883. Let's say, I don't know, you've ridden dirt bikes all your life. Now that doesn't necessarily translate to the road, because when we're on the dirt, you know, we don't have to worry about this car pulling out in front of us and then sand over here and maybe gravel in the corner. But you do have experience, and so as long as you understand that it is a different kind of experience, but still experience, maybe an Iron 1200. That's another fantastic bike. I probably would have started with the 1200 if I were to go back and do it all over again, because it does give you a little bit more power, a little bit more torque, and I like the bike overall better. I like the way it feels, I like the way it sits, I like the handlebars, I like everything pretty much about it better. I don't think that bike was out when I bought mine, or maybe it just came out and I didn't realize or something. It wasn't out for very long, I could tell you that. Now I'm gonna walk inside here and do some videos for the gun channel, but when we come back, there's a couple more things I want to talk about. But before I do that, you know, the Iron 1200 and the Iron 883 are two bikes I reference a lot because they have a standard classic Harley look. They offer you a lot in terms of what you can do with them, and they are fairly forgiving motorcycles. You know, the 883 is like 50 horsepower. It doesn't have to stay 50 horsepower, but like I said, that's a good lightweight motorcycle that you can get into and have a traditional classic Harley-Davidson. You know, I found one when I was doing some research for this video, 2012 Softail Slim, 6,000 miles for $9,000. You know, some of your twin cams, your 103s, and, you know, your 110s. Now, once you get up to the 114, especially the second gen, that's where, you know, you're going to see a rise in pricing. But I would say under $10,000 is where a good beginner motorcycle is priced. Now, some people may disagree with that. Some people may say $5,000. But under $10,000, you're going to get a really nice used Harley-Davidson. A couple of bikes I would stay away from, though, are some of your high-nose, as I call them, Harley in name onlys, which are the Street Series specifically, the 500 and the 750. I really don't like those motorcycles. They have some good ideas, you know, they're liquid cooled and all of that, but honestly, I just don't like, I personally don't like the motorcycle, so I would never recommend them. But some people may like those too, and those are definitely going to be cheaper than even some of the ones I've already mentioned here. One more thing that I want to talk about before I go inside is all of the accessories. You know, you buy a Iron 1200. From there, do what you want. You know, from genuine Harley parts to all of the amazing aftermarket companies out there, handlebars and wheels and, you know, fairings and engine components, cam kits, lifters and relocation kits for your pegs, passenger setups, you know, seats. The entire bike can be changed, and you can get these parts all day long. So all Harley-Davidsons, for the most part, are going to have an incredible aftermarket support and things that you can swap out over time. All right, got done with the videos there. Let's pick it back up. What else makes Harley-Davidson a good first motorcycle, right? If we can get a motorcycle at a decent cost, if we can get one that's, you know, not so unforgiving like a big touring motorcycle, or, you know, even some of the lightweight Sportsters like we talked about, what else is keeping us from, you know, making this a good first motorcycle? What's another thing that's very beneficial if you choose Harley as your first motorcycle, besides everything that we just talked about? The community. And this cannot be understated. I mean, there's big and good communities throughout motorcycling, but Harley-Davidson is the biggest. So, for example, if you want to, you know, go on test rides, if you want to get along with, you know, some people that have common interest, if there are rides that you like to go to, there's very few companies, if any, that will, you know, provide you with so many opportunities, so many different rides. And that's something I really love, man. And, you know, we generally have the reputation of, you know, not caring about stuff. And well, this is kind of a gross stereotype with all motorcyclists. You know, oh, they don't care about anything, they're just troublemakers, blah blah blah. And you'll find that basically there's very few bad apples. It's just like in anything. And I've personally found that people that ride Harleys specifically in this community is awesome. You know, super, you know, knowledgeable and willing to share information with you, willing to teach you, willing to talk to you. I've never been in a situation where I was like, man, these guys are dicks. You know, I'm not saying that there's nobody out there, but when you go to rides, you go to events and things like that, there's really good people in all motorcycle communities, but Harley communities are pretty special. And that leads me to the support you're going to be able to get for your motorcycle itself. You know, if you take a trip from Florida to, I don't know, California, you're going to be able to find Harley dealers scattered throughout. And I'm not just talking about one in each state. I'm talking about multiples in every state. And so that's pretty nice, man. The ability to have support, if that comes down to being able to fix your bike or just having places you can stop along the way and visit, Harley-Davidson is unmatched in that department too, at least here in the United States. So the last thing we'll talk about is your resale value. You know, with your first bike, most people don't buy their, you know, forever or dream bike, if you will, on their first bike, right? They just don't. And I don't even know if there's a thing as a forever bike. The ultimate goal is to have multiple bikes, you know what I mean, for most riders. But you know, your resale value on a Harley it's going to be really good. So when you eventually get tired of that motorcycle, you want to upgrade, you want to get a big touring bike or whatever, you know, you're going to be surprised, as long as you take care of it, of how well that motorcycle actually keeps its value. And that's important, especially even if you're buying used, because you want to be able to get a lot of your money back out of it, you know. And that's something you could definitely do with Harley-Davidson. People are always looking to buy them new and used, to be honest with you. You know, now as you can tell, I'm a Harley enthusiast. You know, I love a lot of what they do. I think they have some of the most beautiful bikes on the road, but I like other brands too. I've done a lot of Indian reviews, and some of which I really like. But I just love Harley-Davidson. I love the Americana, and you can, you know, say what you want about them having jobs here and there. They're still deep and rich in American culture, and I appreciate that. They have not always done everything right, but they are definitely still a part of that deep culture that I appreciate. So that's why I think Harley-Davidson can be a really good first bike. I don't know that every single model out there is going to be a good first bike. As a matter of fact, I would say that's not the case, but there are some good ones that you can choose from. So if you're a new rider, or maybe you're an experienced Harley-Davidson rider, what has kept you with the brand? Why have you stuck with Harley-Davidson? Love to hear from any of you guys, from new time to people that have been doing this a long time. Love to hear from y'all, man. Big thanks. If you like what I do, consider subscribing and maybe become a patron member, or you can join the channel if you like. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one, and as always, hold 'em down.